Coming to you from their living rooms, it's the Day After Show with Danielle Staub and Yvette.
I just can't help myself. Pay attention, please. Hey everyone, welcome to the Day After Show with myself, and I'm here with my co-host Yvette. Hi, honey.
How's it going, guys? How's it going? Beautiful. How are you?
Oh, it's so good. I love all the colors going on there in that room. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
So nice to see.
Complete coincidence.
Vibrant. Yes, I know, but it still works, I have to say, first of all, I have to drink a little bit of water. It's too early for wine. Unfortunately, we're going to be switching up the times. And I told everyone last night on my live, my Danielle's viewing party, that we were going to be putting up a cohesive and constructive day after show so that all of you get the points rather than my rants, because I'm running out of rants.
I think
I'm literally
they live
not
for your
even mad
rants.
at them anymore, Yvette.
I
feel sorry for them. That's the point I've gotten to. So let's just get right down to it. First, I started off with the week with my interview with Ronald Richards. And he's going after, it's called The Real Crimes of the Real Housewives. And that's on my podcast, Danielle Staub, absolutely. But I'll bring him on here because I really want to get him on video as well. He's got a lot to say about the real crimes of the Real Housewives. And there's a lot of them that are unfortunately going to keep popping up. Margaret Josephs is going to be one of the two that are going to come up to that are going to rise up to this situation because of all the fraud and all the money she's taken from people and all these lawsuits. Eventually, she's been getting a free ride. Eventually, these lawsuits are going to hit her on the show. They haven't really dug in there. You know how Jackie got her turn this season? My prediction is next season, Margaret Josephs is going to get taken down to her knees, and she's going to be on her knees in a way that she doesn't enjoy anymore. So I think the other one would be Joey Gorga. You can't keep burning people and expect them to just sit back. Or the IRS just might go after somebody, that's bragging about having a lot of money, and they just might dig in there. You never know. Jennifer, be careful because you brag an awful lot. And so doesn't Jackie does too.
It's a little bit more understated, Jackie, sometimes, right? She likes to let it be known that she has money, even though she doesn't like to flash it around.
And where the cautionary tale comes from, her father doing prison time, because that's not really legally their money either. They just got to keep a certain amount of it, I guess, just like Teresa got to keep some. So just be careful, Jackie, how much bragging you do, because now I'm on your ass like you were on mine. And you didn't even know me. At least I got to know you first to call you out on it.
Sure. So speaking of Jackie, this whole episode, because I feel like they always set a nice little theme at the beginning of it, is her B-Day at the winery. Dolores chooses not to go to Jackie's house prior to going to the winery, and she uses the excuse of having a doctor's appointment. So what do you think about that? Do you think that was a wise choice? Because of course she later admits that she didn't have a doctor's appointment.
Dolores doesn't want to be a part of any of the drama. She wants to put her punches in there, call her scumbag names or whatever it is that she's saying today. And she wants to be the one that then goes in and mediates everybody and tells them her advice, because she's so wise, being divorced and having her ex-husband living with her after fucking around on her. I don't know why these people are being considered a good source of information or advice. But I don't think any of them could really clearly give it. And obviously, because look at their relationships.
Sure.
I don't think Dolores has any intention of hanging out with them again. I really don't.
It was brought to our attention by one of your fans that this whole storyline about Dolores wanting a ring and then kind of being okay with not getting a ring is actually probably most likely a sham, because according to these sources, David has been previously married and he's gone through a divorce. So it kind of seems that as
That
if
came from
that was an
somebody, I think,
agreement.
in my fan base, like Brandon, right? Is that his name?
Yeah,
He's been
that's
trying to
him.
get my attention, so I'm glad he got a hold of you because he knows probably already that I know. David's, anyone that lives in this area would know David is a pretty upstanding guy, and you guys have picked up on that as well. And he's an upstanding citizen, and he loves Dolores and her family. However, he's never getting married again. And never, I know, is pretty tough word to use. It doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room, but there's no wiggle room. Men and women get over things that are so traumatizing and traumatic a lot differently.
He's been clear about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Dolores.
So I don't know why she feels like it needs to be sold so hard. I think Dolores should have just been over the moon about the car, and then in private maybe been upset that, that kind of made me look bad. I think that David is very wise to that. And Dolores already knows that. So if she's creating a fake storyline just to remain relevant, you guys got to consider what else she's not being truthful about. Maybe she wasn't so truthful about me. Maybe she told a lie when she denied telling me that Teresa is just all about the money. I'm not saying maybe for me. I'm saying
which
maybe
isn't
you
really
consider it. Yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard to believe that Teresa is all about money. I mean, it's like a large premise of the show.
Else? Yeah, why else would you stay on a show like this and you still don't have anything to show for it? That being said, what are your thoughts on Melissa and Joey Gorga? Because you know where I stand on this. I've said it since the start. Their marriage is in turmoil. And even when they faked that fake fight or fake affair and all that shit, that wasn't fake. People usually mirror the thing that's bothering them the most on these shows. That's the unpacking of that. So it was happening, or they wouldn't have mirrored it. They're not that smart, people. You're way smarter than them.
Anything that they say at this point is hard to believe, even at the point where she got called because he had the kidney stone. At that moment, I was like, okay, is this going to be another prank? Because that's what's been going on all season. So if they're having marriage problems, it's not a surprise to me because...
Yeah, Melissa's not going day drinking with any of them because there is a marital problem there. And now Joey, no matter what happens to him, he's going to start crying out for help because he wants to be a part of every scene because he knows his marriage is in the tank.
I mean, I feel like the episodes in general become very repetitive. I've said this many times. I felt like this episode was kind of boring. Other than all of that, we find out that Margaret's planning a Halloween party. And of course, Jennifer, we're following up on her issues with her mom and all of that.
Never do that to your parents. And now she's like, oh, I don't think she's going to speak to me. Why are you crying about that? You needed a storyline. You made her give you a storyline. And now, little girl, you got to pay the price. You lose the people closest to you. Your mother's way smarter than you gave her credit of being, and it pisses me off. It pissed me off to see her parents' relationship being torn at in front of their grandchildren, nonetheless. Shame on her, Jennifer. You don't see Bill sitting there doing that to his mom. Bill's the perfect guy. I'm sorry. Bill's the perfect guy.
He's a keeper, that's for sure.
He's the perfect guy.
I was disappointed once again that the episode ended in another to be continued. I feel like this is like the third time this has happened this season.
What, Teresa going on a date, right?
Yeah, with her man that everyone's already seen him. They even show a clip of his face, and it's like, what are we leading up to? What's the climax? What's so exciting? We keep getting built up for nothing.
Nothing. It's just going to be Teresa making a mess out of another relationship and another person on this show because it's not going to last.
Every time I watch What Happens Live or anything like that, there's always a reference to you and dramas to you and then storylines linked to you or even Marty at this point, which is another connection to you. So well,
Marty's desperately trying to be relevant because let's face it, anyone that thinks Margaret's respectful of anything for, talking with my ex, what would happen if I asked her, what if I went and hung out with Jan, her ex? You know what she would say? He would never. Well, then he would never because he's a good guy.
Speaking of Margaret, she was recently on the Wendy Williams show. And of course, any conversation about the Housewives cannot go without mentioning Danielle Staub. So she had some pretty interesting things to say about why it is that you left the show. She mentioned that she was the main reason that you had to leave?
Because of you. Yes. Well, because, I wouldn't say because of me, but, things happen. But Marty sold the house. She said she was buying it. And it was out there that after he sold the house, he also sold all the pieces in the house. And, of course, I coveted them from the...
Here's the truth. Anyone who's anyone at Bravo or loves the Bravo shows or follows us knows that I retired. I resigned, not retired. I resigned, and I told Andy shockingly on Watch What Happens Live with Steph from, the Dallas girls sitting next to me with her hot pink jacket on. And they were both in shock when I said, I will never, ever film with the Real Housewives of New Jersey again. It's my decision to leave. And that was January 2020. She's lying about the way that I left the show on my own accord. It's safe to say she's lying about everything else you can imagine. Don't give her any credibility. If she speaks a word, just know it's not even true. Her whole entire book is a sham. I know this without even reading it because I can see how she's behaving and making fun of the fact that its name is Tuna Fish Dreams. No, honey, why would you associate yourself with a tuna fish? Like, why? No credibility, and I can't wait to see her crash and burn. I, for one, am here for it. I'm front row and center.
So
that
would you say
no love from me?
Would you say that she earns a spot in your hot seat for this week? Or do you have
I would say she and Dolores
person?
both can share that hot seat. As I just don't like that she's trying to fool people into her relevancy on the show. And she's played this, bad cop, literally. She was a prison guard. I mean, God bless her. That's a tough fucking job. You don't mess with people like that.
She was a prison guard?
In Patterson.
Wow, I heard that's a really hard job.
In Patterson, much respect. So when she charged me saying scumbag 5 times, because I told Teresa something that she actually said, rather than saying, oh my God, Danielle, I'm pissed because you told her what I said. I didn't think she'd deny it. And she didn't even get that upset over her relationship. She only called them scumbag once. Mm-hmm.
So, after careful thought, I didn't mention this earlier, but I think I'm going to put Jackie in the hot seat because I feel like she hasn't been around all season because of the whole rumor thing.
I think they're weaning her out.
And then I didn't like how I feel like she took control of that whole poll situation at the party for Dolores, like whether they thought that David was buying the Porsche as a cop out for the engagement ring. I feel like she was the ringleader and all of that. And I also feel like she just wouldn't drop it.
I think you need to understand what Jackie is, smart as she is and book smart. She's not quirky. And she has comebacks when she's in the moment that are really good, but they're rehearsed. Because she sits down with Melissa, and Melissa tells her how to get underneath Teresa's skin.
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh, That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
So I think Melissa, if anyone, needs to be back in that hot seat too. I think they all share in that fucking hot seat. Maybe we need to expand it because, there has to be a few hot seats this week. There's no way that any of them have been truthful.
Well, once again, I feel like this has been way more entertaining than the actual show itself. It's a lot juicier, a lot more interesting information. I'm sure people are going to appreciate. So thank you for that.
I hope so. And thank you, Yvette, for always being here on the day after show. We look forward to hearing all your feedback. We also want to know where you would like us to go next and what kind of shows you'd like to watch that are not on Bravo. So give us some feedback. I have some Q&As I'm preparing, so you guys can come into my chat rooms and fire these questions at me. And if I lose, you'll get a prize. You'll get something that's a part of my brand, and we'll give it to you clear as a day. And I want you all to be involved with me because I'm not going anywhere. Love me or hate me, there's no in between, but you're paying attention when I'm around. That's my original tagline, and I'm going to leave you with that. Yvette, thanks again for always being here. Brandon,
thank you for having me.
And thanks, Brandon, for bringing some tea to the show today. And Wendy Williams, just be careful, honey. I see you don't want to be sitting with her, but you can always sit with me, darling. We're both Leos as well. Anyway, thanks again, guys. And Yvette, thank you, honey, for being here.
Thanks, Boo.
Much
Bye.
love.